Thank you, Ella. And let me just really reiterate on behalf of the Syrian Forum our absolute pleasure to be one of many unprecedented and firsts this week. This is an event that is officially sponsored by our government, the Syrian Arab Republic, and we are a Syrian organization. We had the same pleasure to do similar events in Geneva and New York last month as well. So if that's an indication of anything from our perspective as an independent civil society organization, it is that at least we have listening ears at this point in the government. I'm very happy to have that sort of relationship, and we appreciate it, and we hope that it will continue. Also, many thanks to our sponsors, the European Union, Luxembourg, France, and obviously our hosts, David, thank you, and Aaron Fox for providing the space. Now, to address the question, it's the past 15 years didn't just allow for a robust civil society, Syrian civil society, to actually come together or to formulate and to establish a certain capacity that wasn't necessarily there prior to 2011, although we do not want to obviously discount the fact that there was a civil society that was trying its absolute best and working under absolutely difficult circumstances. We have these, the old warriors or the original warriors. I don't want to put the word old associated with them. And among them, we have Dr. Najib Ghadban in the room, who's now at the Foreign Ministry, and others also in the room that have been working towards a more inclusive and a better Syria for decades. But the past 15 years also caused that civil society getting to know each other and work with each other and complement the work of each other. And so we have organizations that are, laser focused on issues of accountability and justice and rule of law, such as the Syrian Network for Human Rights. But we also have organizations such as the Syrian Forum that also chose to focus on, complementary aspects of that work and to continue to do the international advocacy as much as possible. Part of the work that we've done is we've pursued referring Syria to the International Criminal Court for the longest time prior to 2024. In fact, actually on December, I think 8th or 7th, we were in The Hague arguing in front of the Assembly of State Parties of the International Criminal Court why, arguing actually a legal path into a referral of Bashar al-Assad and Syria to the International Criminal Court. But also our approach has been to, because the Syrian Forum has also been working on a lot of development and governance and economic issues for a very long time, we also chose to take that angle. And years prior to 2024, we have engaged and focused on this whole question of civic dialogue and engaging different aspects of the Syrian society in various different types of projects. So we've engaged in a number of dialogue projects all over Syria, really, even in areas that we couldn't outwardly function in as an organization that has been labeled as opposition to the Assad regime. So through our think tank, the Al-Ran Center of Strategic Studies, we've focused on engaging on those levels. Some of the work that's, and this is a point that I really want to make here, is that from our perspective, the question of transitional justice, the question of civic peace, the question of reconciliation is an overarching question for us as a civil society organization. And it's not an issue that should be siloed and dealt with as a sort of a specific and specialized sort of file. This is about local governance. This is about including local communities. This is about local development. This is about engaging in local societal dialogues. Since December, for example, we continued our local dialogues. We were in the coast, we were in Sweda, we were in the northeast, we were in Idlib, we were in Daraa, in the, the neighborhoods of Damascus suburbs, Jaramana, Sahnaya, the areas that have been heavily affected by the deeply disturbing events that took place in March and July. And we took it upon ourselves, again, as civil society, to continue those conversations and those dialogues and to push for an integrated approach that talks about reconciling Syrian society at large, at so many different levels, economically, societal-wise, governance, and otherwise. I'll end by saying that one of our, here I had prepared comments, but I guess I was inspired by the comments of my colleagues. They were in Arabic anyway, so it would have been weird for me to try to translate in my mind. I'll end by saying that one of the things that we have been really pushing for is to try to break this taboo of the question of local governance and how that's constantly associated with the D word, decentralization, right? That everybody seems to be, or not everybody, but there's a lot of negative connotations that are associated to it. And it's a question that we've worked on for a very long time as not just Syrian Forum and Umran, but Syrian civil society has been talking about true and genuine inclusion of local communities in rebuilding Syria from the ground up. And I think we have listening ears at many different levels, but I think we all collectively need to try to break that taboo that when you focus on local communities and local governance and local development, you're not necessarily talking about an extreme form of decentralization or even any dangerous form of decentralization. These are separate things. That this is an approach that needs to be taken from the ground up. I promise the last thing I'm going to say. Right after the disturbing events of Sweda, we issued a very critical paper, or a short paper by our think tank, the Umran Center of Strategic Studies. And the tone had a number of recommendations to how we felt maybe the authorities could have handled the situation, maybe how they could handle it differently. And the approach was very pragmatic. We really are trying to stay away from these idealistic sort of notions of pushing for peace and justice for all, which are extremely important, but we're trying to also come from a realistic, pragmatic positioning where we're saying that it's extremely important for the current authorities and the government to bring stability and peace and some form of legitimacy to them and to what they're doing. In order for them to do that, they really need to focus on local development, they need to focus on local representation, and they need to focus on local governance. We continue to have these conversations with our colleagues at the government and other civil society organizations, and very proud to be able to have this voice actually and say these things from Damascus, something that none of us dreamt of for at least for my lifetime. So I'll end here and then we can.
Thank you, Yaser.